Coastal calculations, Morocco's Atlantic Gambit, and Ethiopia's Red Sea predicament. A tale of two coasts unveils Africa's shifting power dynamics. In the West, a swift partnership unlocks the Atlantic for landlocked nations. In the East, a decades-long yearning for the sea remains enstrained by history and mistrust. Morocco orchestrates a strategic alliance while Ethiopia navigates a labyrinth of regional rivalries. As the continent grapples with connectivity, a crucial question emerges. Who holds the keys to Africa's maritime lifelines and at what cost? Hi, I'm Jalani Tesfaye, and this is Analytica Today. The pursuit of sea access, often taken for granted by coastal nations, is a high-stakes geopolitical game for landlocked countries in Africa. This week, we dissect a stark contrast: the rapid success of the alliance of Sahel states in securing access to the Atlantic Ocean through Morocco versus Ethiopia's enduring struggle for a viable route to the Red Sea. One alliance flourishes in months, the other languishes after decades. Why this divergence? The answer lies in the intricate interplay of strategic ambitions, historical baggage, and the ever-shifting sands of regional power. How do these contrasting experiences illuminate the fundamental geopolitical divide shaping the African continent, and what do they portend for the future of trade and influence? Let's navigate these coastal calculations. In late 2023, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, the AES bloc, faced a critical juncture following their departure from ECOWAS and the ensuing sanctions. Their traditional trade arteries were severed. Enter Morocco, offering a lifeline: access to its Atlantic ports. By April 2025, a deal was struck, a swift resolution driven by mutual strategic alignment. Contrast this with Ethiopia. Since Eritrea's independence in 1993, Ethiopia, a nation of over 120 million people, has largely depended on Djibouti for its maritime trade, incurring significant annual costs. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's 2024 MoU with Somaliland for access to the Berbera port offered a glimmer of hope. Yet, this agreement remains mired in regional opposition and lacks international backing, highlighting a protracted struggle against geographical constraints and historical mistrust. This disparity begs the question: what fundamental differences in regional dynamics and international engagement account for these vastly different outcomes? The AES-Morocco partnership thrived on a convergence of interests. Morocco, seeking to bolster its regional influence against Algeria and legitimize its position on Western Sahara, saw an opportunity in the AES's isolation. The AES, in return, desperately needed alternative trade routes. Crucially, Morocco's undisputed control over its ports and a lack of direct sovereignty disputes facilitated rapid agreement. Furthermore, a shared skepticism towards traditional Western alliances fostered a diplomatic alignment. Ethiopia's predicament is defined by regional antagonism and historical baggage. Somalia vehemently opposes the Somaliland deal, viewing it as an infringement on its sovereignty. Eritrea, with a history of conflict with Ethiopia, remains a hostile neighbor, blocking potential access. Djibouti, benefiting from its monopoly, is wary of competition. Ethiopia's imperial past and the Eritrean independence war fuel deep-seated suspicions, casting its pursuit of sea access as a potential bid for regional dominance. The lack of unified international support, complicated by internal conflicts, and the Horn's strategic significance to global powers, further entrenches Ethiopia's challenges. Ethiopia possesses significant untapped leverage. Its large population and its role as the host of the African Union could be used to negotiate favorable port agreements with neighbors in exchange for trade or infrastructure investments. Control over the Blue Nile also presents a potential, albeit politically sensitive, bargaining chip. However, these latent strengths have yet to translate into concrete gains, as demonstrated by the stalled Berbera port deal and the slow progress of the initiatives like the Lapsset corridor. Morocco's leverage in the case of the AES was its immediate availability and strategic positioning. It offered a tangible solution to an urgent crisis, capitalizing on a power vacuum created by the AES's departure from ECOWAS. This swift action positioned Morocco as a key regional player, demonstrating the power of timely strategic intervention. The contrasting experiences of the AES and Ethiopia carry significant implications. The AES-Morocco alliance could reshape trade flows in West Africa and enhance Morocco's geopolitical standing. However, it also raises questions about the long-term stability of this partnership and the potential for external interference. Ethiopia's continued struggle for sea access risks further destabilizing the Horn of Africa. It could exacerbate tensions with Somalia and Eritrea and potentially lead to greater reliance on less conventional partners. The lack of a viable solution also hinders Ethiopia's economic growth and regional integration. The international community's reluctance to challenge established norms of sovereignty in the Horn, while overlooking similar issues in the Sahel exposes a potential double standard with long-term consequences for regional stability and development. The diverging path of the AES and Ethiopia underscore a fundamental truth. Securing sea access in Africa is less about inherent need and more about the confluence of strategic interests and regional power dynamics. Morocco, seizing a moment of opportunity, swiftly forged an alliance. Ethiopia, burdened by history and navigating a complex web of mistrust, remains locked in a protracted struggle. As we witness these coastal calculations unfold, several questions demand our attention. Can regional bodies like the African Union play a more proactive role in facilitating equitable access to maritime resources for landlocked nations? Will the international community prioritize long-term stability and economic integration over rigid interpretations of sovereignty? The case of Ethiopia serves as a stark reminder that geographical constraints, compounded by historical grievances, can create invisible chains hindering a nation's progress. If you believe that equitable access to vital resources is crucial for Africa's development and stability, subscribe, share this analysis, and demand a more nuanced and proactive approach from regional and international actors. This is Jalani Tesfaye. Until next time.